Good afternoon / good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back into the Swank Tank. Today is Monday night, August 25th. If you're tuning in, it is probably Monday night. It may be Tuesday morning. It may be Wednesday. Who knows? All I know is that I appreciate you always tuning in, following along on the socials, following along everywhere you get your podcast, YouTube, Spotify. Means more than you know. So really appreciate y'all being here. As you probably know by this point, if you're tuning in, what is the Swank Tank? NFL only. Analysis, picks, bets, previews, all of it. Everything and anything NFL all in one spot for you to view, for you to listen to, for you to do it all. And I really appreciate all being here. And welcome to the Monday evening show. We got a great episode lined up for you. And it's almost here. Ladies and gentlemen, it is almost here. We are 10 days away. We are 10 days away from NFL kickoff. Eagles, Cowboys. That's going to be a disaster for the Cowboys, I imagine. But we are 10 days away from the regular season kickoff. It is so close. We're talking a little bit of preseason in this episode, but after that, it's done. It's basically done. We got the final cut line Tuesday, so we're going to have to touch on that on the Thursday episode. Outside of that, the preseason is over. So welcome to the regular season. It's an exciting time. We have a fun little exciting kind of video on Thursday, reviewing some fandoms, making sure everybody picks their team before bandwagons start getting out there. Look for that on Thursday. That's Thursday morning. That's going to be a really great episode. And today's episode, although the preseason just ended and the regular season doesn't start for another 10 days, we've got a lot going on. Let's talk about some big names who have already been cut. Again, deadline is Tuesday afternoon. Let's talk about some big names who have already been cut from their teams. Travis Hunter. I don't know if everybody's seen this on ESPN. Ryan Clark, Dan Orlovsky get into it regarding Travis Hunter. If he's playing both sides of the ball, his value. If he's not, was he worth the second overall pick? I'm going to touch on that and give you my opinion there. Brian Robinson Jr. trade. Everybody thought it was going to happen. Big rumors for a week or two that it was going to happen. It does indeed happen. He lands with the 49ers. We'll talk fantasy value there, what that means for the Niners, what that means for the Commanders. We'll talk both sides about that. I give you my favorite rebound team of 2025. I decided not to use the word sleeper because I feel like not a lot of people are necessarily sleeping on this team anymore. I'm here to give you my biggest rebound team, a team that did not do well in 2024. I believe will really thrive in 2025 and turn some heads, surprise some people. So we'll see who I've got going there. That's coming up later in the episode. And we'll wrap it up with Remember When and Swank's Banks. So great Monday afternoon episode here for you. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Alrighty, time to kick off the show with some big names that have already been cut. Again, Tuesday afternoon is the deadline. We are going to see other big names get cut. We're going to be seeing some slept-on sleeper names, if you will, make some teams. It's an exciting time to watch your team finalize the 53-man roster, while also somewhat depressing. You have guys you kind of get attached to, guys that are 5th, 6th round draft picks that are trying to make a name for themselves, you think may deserve a roster spot. They don't make it. Hopefully they land on another team. This time period is always interesting because it's very chaotic. Every team's got to get down to 53. There's teams trading for other players. Oh, this team cut an O-lineman. Let me go grab him, and let me cut this tight end, and let me go cut this DB. It's chaos. It's chaos. We already have some big names, though, that pre-deadline have been cut. Number one, Tyler Huntley. Huntley is a Pro Bowler. I had to start with Tyler Huntley, and I had to start with how in the world did he make the Pro Bowl in 2023? Signed by the Browns 3 weeks ago. I got cut, I believe, yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. This man in 2023, I'm going to look over here to my notes and see what he did. Okay, he played 5 games. Okay. Oh, excuse me. I think it's 6 games, actually. 6 games. My bad. Played 6 games. 3 touchdowns, no picks. 203 passing yards. That's it. That's it out of 6 games. It might even be 5. The 6 is like the 5 on ESPN sometimes. 6 games, and he threw 3 touchdowns, and he was a Pro Bowl alternate. I get it. It's an alternate. Josh Allen came in for Josh Allen to the Pro Bowl. Nobody cares about the Pro Bowl anymore. This is part of that reason because it's a joke. The voting is a complete joke. What on earth? How does a quarterback with 3 touchdowns in a backup coming in for Lamar Jackson when he's out make the Pro Bowl as an alternate? I'm not really here to talk about this, but that is ridiculous how Tyler Huntley made the 2023 Pro Bowl while playing in less than half the games and only throwing 3 touchdowns. Okay. He also, I think, he ran for a few as well, I believe. But come on. I mean, what are we doing? Tyler Huntley, anyways, cut by the Browns, was signed 3 weeks ago when Browns were having some quarterback issues. Huntley has been solid on the Ravens, was with the Dolphins last year, gets cut, he'll land somewhere. 100%. I don't know where that will be. He will find a very solid backup spot on hopefully a contending team for him. Biggest name so far to be cut, Tyler Huntley, he's gone. Cleveland. Flacco already named the starter. Gabriel had a pretty solid preseason. Shedur's stock continued to decline as the preseason went on. Pocket presence, major issue there. I believe they're going to keep him. And they're going to keep Pickett. No. Pickett's got to go. Pickett's going to get cut. Shedur's kept. Flacco's obviously the starter. And they still have Watson on that roster. That's what it really comes down to. It's like, okay, why can't they keep all 4? It wouldn't be the craziest thing because Watson and Flacco are staying. So of Pickett, Shedur, and Gabriel, somebody's got to go. Somebody's got to get cut. And I think they're cutting Kenny Pickett. It's a hard call because I think they like Kenny Pickett a lot. They see him as a true quarterback too, but he hasn't played this preseason, I believe, or that much this preseason. If he has, I don't know. It's going to be tough to see how that quarterback room really pans out, but I can't see them cutting Shedur and I can't see them cutting Gabriel. So going to be really interesting to see how that entirely plays out. Tyler Huntley gets cut just 3 weeks after being signed by the Browns. Big name, already available. Shiloh Sanders, the biggest name in the NFL, around the league, already cut. Shiloh Sanders, I mean, big name coming out here of the NFC. The biggest name probably of all the cuts. If you're not watching, I'm being completely facetious. He's just he is a big name, quote, because of his dad. But Shiloh, undrafted linebacker from, what school did he go to? I forget. Oh, man, maybe it will come to me. That's sarcasm again. That's more sarcasm. He punched a Bills tight end last week, so he's cut. He's cut. I believe his team said, I hope he gets picked up on waivers, as I believe most free agents do, in most guys who get cut and waived. Did you waive back, Shiloh? Did you waive back? I don't think he did. I don't. 4 tackles in the preseason. I don't expect him to do anything. It's just a name, and I had to bring up that he punched a Bills tight end 2 days ago in a preseason game. But Shiloh Sanders, ladies and gentlemen, your team needs to go get Shiloh Sanders right now. You want to make a Super Bowl run? Go and get Shiloh Sanders. Okay, that's enough sarcasm for now. DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the UCLA legend, 2 years in Cleveland, then goes to the Eagles, has been cut by the Eagles already. You know, actually, he showed a lot of flashes in college. He's a very good athlete. He's got good speed. He's really struggled since coming into the NFL. Do you want to guess DTR's touchdown to interception ratio in the NFL? Go ahead. I'll give you 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. If you're new to this show, that's what we do here. I like to throw out stats and give you 3 seconds to guess in your head or out loud, however you want to do it. A guy's touchdown to interception ratio, any stat that we're talking about, you know. DTR's TD to INT ratio, 1-10. He has 1 touchdown to 10 picks in his time in the regular season in the NFL. That it doesn't get much worse than that. 2 years in Cleveland, 1 touchdown, 10 picks. Yikes. No bueno. Don't know where he'll land, if he'll land somewhere, but he's a scrambler. He reminds me a lot of Huntley, except Huntley's obviously better. He's got a Pro Bowl. So Huntley's definitely better. But that being said, DTR is out there. If you want to go get him, big name. One more big name, Lyle Collins. It's a big one. Played 6 seasons with the Cowboys, went to the Bengals, went to the Bills. Really solid offensive lineman for Dallas. He's got that veteran status, so although he's cut, if everybody agrees, he can go straight to the practice squad, stick around in Dallas. So that's a possibility for them. Lyle, gone from the Cowboys. I believe he'll get added quickly, relatively, by some other team in the NFL. He's got way too much experience, still a big guy. I think he's got a little bit of gas left in the tank. Maybe not starter worthy gas, but I think he's still got some quality reps still left in him. Lyle will find a new home. Sadly, it will not be in Dallas. So Shiloh Sanders, Tyler Huntley, DTR, and Lyle Collins, 4 big-ish names that have already been cut from their teams, their squads, before that Tuesday deadline. So it'll be interesting to see where they land. DTR and Shiloh might not be anywhere. Lyle and Huntley will definitely land somewhere, in my opinion. We'll see where they fall. And come Tuesday, it's right around the corner, we'll have a lot more cuts to talk about. So those are some 4 big names that have been cut already. Make sure you know them, because a few of them are probably going to be added somewhere around the league. And starting as you're listening, we've got some big-time cuts coming, which are going to be very interesting to see. And you got to trim that roster down to 53. You got to trim it down. So Thursday's episode, we'll review some more guys who have been cut, but there's some 4 big ones to look out for already. That was a little preseason, a little basically free agent talk now when you think about it if they're cut. Let's transition into something a little bit more personal in the sense of debate, because this is going to be a debate. And this happened last week. I don't know if you saw. Ryan Clark, Dan Orlovsky got into it in a friendly manner. They got into it, got a little heated about Travis Hunter. The question today for you all, is it a waste of a number 2 pick if Hunter doesn't play both sides of the ball? Travis Hunter, of course, Jaguars CB / wide receiver. I want you to think about this. In your opinion, was it a waste what the Jaguars did and what they gave up, their assets, etc., if Travis Hunter, the number 2 overall pick, quote, doesn't play both sides of the ball? Let's dive into this. This is going to be my favorite segment of the show. Ryan Clark here's a quote. If he doesn't play both sides of the football, you wasted a pick. He's not the number 2 pick as a wide receiver. He's not the number 2 pick as a cornerback. He is the number 2 pick if he plays both. He goes on after, another minute spiel to say, it's Liam Cohen's problem, newly acquired Liam Cohen from the Bucks, to fix Trevor Lawrence. It's not Travis Hunter's problem to fix Trevor Lawrence. Liam Cohen's problem to fix it, not Travis Hunter's problem to fix it. I'm aware of that. I think he's obviously aware of that. Maybe some other people aren't. Let's keep going. Dan Graziano adds in here, James Gladstone said, quote, he changes the math. That's what Travis Hunter does for the Jaguars, for any team he was going to land on. As a dual threat player who can play D and can play O, who can play CB, who can play wide receiver, seemingly at an elite level, he, quote, changes the math. Okay. Let's remember, got to give you all the context here, what he was traded for. The Jaguars traded the number 5 this year. They had the 5th overall in this year's draft. Along with that, they traded away a 2nd-round pick, a 4th-round pick, and a 2026 first-rounder to move up 3 spots. Was it worth it? Will it be worth it? Is the debate here if Hunter doesn't play both sides of the football. 5th overall to move up 3 spots to number 2, and you have to give up that pick, a 2nd, a 4th, and next year's 1st. It's a lot of capital. It is a lot of capital. Let's get into my opinion on this. I agree to an extent with Ryan Clark. Dan Orlovsky's big debate was that if he goes out there and has 1,200 yards and 6 touchdowns, I believe is what he put out there, was it a waste? He said no. He said no because he's there to help Trevor Lawrence. That was kind of the first angle he was coming from. And Ryan Clark's rebuttal was that he is not there. He's there to help Trevor. He's not there to make Trevor the quarterback he needs to be. Does that make sense to you? It's Travis Hunter's there to play both sides of the ball, right? That's why they drafted him. This is the whole point he's making. He's there to play both sides. You gave up all that capital for a guy that can go both ways. If he has a tremendous year on one side of the ball, Ryan Clark is saying that's not worth it to him for what they did because there was other elite guys purely at one of the 2 positions that they could have drafted instead without giving up the capital. That makes sense. That is encapsulating that right there. It's instead of giving up a 2nd, that 1st, and a 4th and swapping, you draft at your spot an elite wide receiver or an elite CB, one of the 2, and that's what you have. Great. But if he's not playing both sides of the ball, why did you give up all the capital? So it's very much two main ways to look at this. But I agree to an extent with Ryan Clark. If Travis Hunter goes out there and has a 1,200-yard, 8-touchdown season at wide receiver, it's going to be really hard for me to say that pick was not worth it or that pick is kind of wasted. Moving up was not worth it. It's going to be really hard for me to say that. That's not going to be his job. It shouldn't be his job to go and, quote, save Trevor Lawrence. That's what Ryan Clark was getting at. But you can't argue with the result. If he gets 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns, was it a waste? No, at that point, it's not a waste because his production's fantastic. Is it a waste if he is elite at one position over another position, as in that position he only ends up playing? Is it a waste if throughout the season, let's say it's wide receiver, he somehow is a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL, straight from the get-go, and has a crazy good year? And in that manner, they don't really play him at corner as much anymore because he's thriving so much at wide receiver. He's helping the team out so much at wide receiver. It'd be really hard for me to say that is a waste of a pick. I do relatively agree it would be a waste of assets, but once you give away those picks and those assets, nothing else matters besides the production from that player you traded for. If he goes and puts up major numbers at wide receiver, or flip it, he goes and puts up major numbers at corner, it's hard to argue that that's a waste of a pick. I see where they're both coming from because you gave away those picks, those assets, moving up for him to play both sides of the ball. Partially in doing that, though, you have just the availability of a guy to be able to do that. So he may end up favoring one more over the other. He may end up 2 or 3 years from now playing just one over the other position. Would that be a waste? In my eyes, not fully. I would say partially yes. It could be a waste. To me, it's a waste. Long story short, it's a waste if he does not become elite at one of the 2. If he is not an elite wide receiver or an elite cornerback at some point, then to me, it's more of a waste. Because would you rather have this guy play both sides of the ball and be average? Or over time, would you rather play him on both sides of the ball and let him find where he thrives best and keep him there more to help benefit your team? That's where the Travis Hunter debate really comes into play. Do you want an average Travis Hunter at CB and wide receiver in the NFL? Again, this is a hypothetical. Or would you rather Travis, over the next year or two, figure out what he's best at, and then him go with that 90% of the time? And then be filtered in slightly at corner on special plays and maybe nickel packages, or filtered in at wide receiver when you've got 3 wideouts, or you're running a special package on offense. If he doesn't find his full position over the coming years, or he doesn't really thrive or become an elite player at one of the two, then we can talk about that it's maybe a waste of moving up. But that's how I see it. That's how I see it. Because it's really hard to argue if a player is really elite at a position, given a year or 2 or 3, if it was a waste of a pick, because it's not. But it's also important to note that he's not there to save Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence needs to take a step way up. And Liam Cohen's new offense, hopefully, Jaguars are hoping that he's able to do that. We'll see how that goes. I'm a little worried about it. First year with another new head coach. Again, we've touched on this multiple times already on the Swank Tank. Trevor Lawrence and the Jags front office, the system, the coaches, the personnel, it has been not helpful for him over his multi-year career there. I do think he takes a little bit of a step forward. I'm a little worried about it, though. Travis Hunter's not there to save Trevor Lawrence. Travis Hunter is there to play both sides of the ball initially. And I think the plan over time is for him to play both sides, but definitely lean one way, over another as time comes. So, final kind of wrapping this up here, Travis Hunter to me is going to play both sides of the ball. And over time, I think he's going to lean more one way over the other. He'll still play both sides over time. But it'll either be wide receiver, where he plays 70, 80, 90% of the snaps, or CB, plays 70, 80, 90% of the snaps, then gets sprinkled in the other part. The quote by Dan Graziano, he changes the math. I think he changes the math because he gives you 2 options to become elite at one of the 2 options. That's where he changes the math in my eyes. So I think he'll play both sides of the ball regardless over the coming years, but it's definitely going to favor one side more than the other. It's now finding out which side he's going to favor. I think it's going to be wide receiver. That's where I stand on the Travis Hunter take. Let me know what you think. It's a very interesting debate because I don't think it's a waste. It's hard to say it's a waste if he goes out there and puts up big-time numbers and really helps the Jaguars succeed. But I do get it if he does not become elite in my eyes at one of the 2, CB or wide receiver. So that's where I stand on that. The Jags are going to have a lot of eyeballs on them this year. New GM, new head coach, Travis Hunter brought in, the unicorn. Trevor Lawrence, can he build up to that potential everybody's been waiting to see? A lot of question marks. The Jags are going to be one of the most interesting teams to watch this year in terms of production, in terms of can they win the AFC South? Some people think so. What is that backfield going to look like? Bigsby, ETN, other weapons, Brian Thomas Jr., the phenomenal rookie season he had. Is the defense up to par this year? A lot of question marks for the Jags. Going to be very fun, very interesting to see as it goes on. Travis Hunter, the unicorn. Let's see what year he has. All right, we just talked some big ball over there in the AFC with the Jags. Travis Hunter, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions on that Travis Hunter pick. If he doesn't play both sides, is it a waste? Let me know your thoughts, comments, and opinions in the chat. Spotify, you can drop a message. YouTube, all my socials. Let me know what you think about the Travis Hunter pick. Very curious to see what your thoughts are there. Appreciate everybody tuning in on this Monday night. Got a really great season ahead. Excited for the Mondays and Thursdays coming. Got some really great stuff coming out. So go follow on all the socials at the Swank Tank if you are not already. Appreciate you all. Let's now shift over to the NFC. Brian Robinson Jr., running back from the Commanders, traded to the 49ers for a 6th-round pick. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. If you know Brian Robinson, just a 6, straight up, to the Niners, I was a little bit surprised, in all honesty. I really thought you'd go for a little bit more. Let's break it down. So, that Commanders running back room was getting real crowded. You've got Austin Eckler, the veteran from the Chargers. Been there, I think this is his second I believe it's his third year now. Maybe it's his third year, I believe, with the Commanders, one of the two. You draft JCM, Bill Krosky Merritt. He's going by Bill, but the name JCM is just so dope. It's Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, making some big names in camp. We'll talk about him in a sec. Jeremy McNichols, Chris Rodriguez Jr. That backfield's pretty stacked. In the Commanders' eyes, they believe they've got the four pieces they need in that backfield, so they felt like they had everything they needed, it seems. So Brian Robinson Jr. gets shipped off. He had a really solid year last season. He had more touchdowns last season than he did the previous two combined. Drafted in 2022, played 14 games last year, 799 yards, and 8 touchdowns. He had a very solid year for the Commanders. Him and Eckler kind of split reps, split carries, and he's not the biggest catching out of the backfield guy. That's kind of what I think it comes down to a little bit for Brian Robinson Jr., BRJ. They got BRJ, JCM, CRJ, Chris Rodriguez Jr. I'm liking all these acronyms here, but he gets shipped off. 14 games played. Interesting factoid here. Look at that word. Interesting stat. Let me say, rather. Brian Robinson Jr. had 8 touchdowns last year with the Commanders. The 49ers running back room combined last year for 8 touchdowns total. Yes, obviously I know McCaffrey was injured, and they had a lot of other injuries over there. They had Garendo in there, other pieces, mixed in. The 49ers running backs for all 17 games combined for 8 rushing touchdowns last year for the 49ers. Brian Robinson Jr. comes in having 8 rushing touchdowns last year alone, himself, and gets moved over for a 6th-round pick. Pretty damn good. You look at the 49ers running back room now. McCaffrey's obviously there. He looks amazing, according to reports and out of camp. He's obviously the main back. He's obviously one of the best backs in the NFL when healthy. I think he's in for a very big year, people. I touched on this last week. McCaffrey's in for a big year. They now bring in Brian Robinson. He's automatically the RB2. He'll be getting some reps. You got Garendo. He's fighting through a shoulder injury right now. You got Jordan James behind him. This room's going to get dinged up a little bit as the season goes along. It's just the 49er way, unfortunately. Just the way of the water for running backs. So Robinson comes in. He's the bona fide running back too. I like this move a lot for the 49ers. Just giving up a 6th for a guy who had really good production just last season, who's only been in the league a few years. I like this a lot. for the 49ers. And I think it's going to pay dividends when they get a little banged up in that running back room. Maybe it's not McCaffrey. Maybe it's Garendo or James or whoever, where he truly is the RB2 and he needs to play that role all season long. I like this move a lot for the 49ers. And looking at the fantasy outlook for the Commanders, I think Bill Krosky Merritt at some point will be the RB1 in this team. He's shown a lot of flashes, a lot. And you have Eckler, and you've got McNichols, and you've got Rodriguez. Here's how I think it's going to be broken down. I think Eckler and JCM are going to do a 40-40 split, 40%. I think Rodriguez and McNichols are going to be the other 10% and 10%. So I've got a 40-40 for Eckler and Bill Krosky Merritt. I've got a 10-10 on McNichols and Rodriguez Jr. Over the first 6 games, it's basically like a test run for the Commanders on who that main back will be, what it's going to look like. It could be a true 25% split by all 4 of them. It really could. There's a chance there, 1,000%. In my eyes, Eckler and JCM have already surpassed McNichols and Rodriguez in terms of overall production. I have them splitting 40-40. I got the other guys splitting 10-10. But we'll see. And as the season goes along, I think Bill Krosky Merritt becomes the main back. I think by week 8, Orlovsky Merritt is the number one guy. I think he'll be getting 60-ish% of the reps. Eckler probably 25, 30. Other guys are just very much sprinkled in and filtered in. So Brian Robinson Jr. gone, traded to the 49ers for a 6th-round pick. My thoughts overall, love it. I absolutely love this move for the 49ers. No risk here at all. Giving up a 6 for a guy that had a great production last year, who's got great legs, can run downhill, and provide some great depth for you. Absolutely love it. For the Commanders, I think they could have gotten at least a 5th. In my eyes, maybe not. But in my eyes, I think they could have gotten at least a 5th. Love this move for the 49ers. Interesting fantasy outlook for both these teams. Both running back rooms are now a little bit loaded. Brian Robinson, if McCaffrey were to go down, my God, I hope he does not. Given his history, though, there's a chance. If he were to go down, Brian Robinson Jr. in your fantasy team or your fantasy drafts, phenomenal value there. Phenomenal value, obviously. So it will be interesting to see, but I love the move. I love the move for the 49ers. Basically, no risk, high reward. And that Commanders backfield, I think Orlovsky Merritt, as the season progresses, wins that starting job completely. From the get-go, I got a 40-40 split, him and Eckler, 10-10 split with McNichols and Rodriguez Jr. That's how I see that playing out. We've already talked about some big names cut already from some teams. Again, deadline is Tuesday for teams to get it down to that 53-man roster. We touched on that. We touched on the Brian Robinson trade, touched on the Travis Hunter debate, playing both sides of the ball. Let's now dive into my favorite rebound team of 2025. I'm calling it a rebound so people don't get all up in arms or heated about it being, quote, a sleeper team, because this team may not be as big of a sleeper anymore as people believe to be, or the term sleeper just kind of triggers people sometimes. So I'll stay away from it for now. I'm using the term rebound. My favorite rebound team of 2025 comes out of the AFC East. It's obviously not the Bills. What would they have to rebound from? Is it the Jets? Is it the Patriots? Is it the Dolphins? I'll give you 3 seconds to guess. 1, 2, 3. It is indeed the New York. No, it's not. It is not the New York Jets. Come on now. Oh, man, it's Monday, but we can laugh. We can laugh. I'm not picking the Jets to rebound. Ain't no way. Not with Justin Fields at the helm. That ain't happening. Sorry. With Aaron Glenn, first year, that's not happening, by the way. The Patriots are my favorite rebound team of 2025 for a lot of reasons. Let's break down what they did in the offseason, who they brought in, why I'm really high on them this year. Look at their schedule. We'll preview that. All of the above. Let's dive into why I think the New England Patriots are my favorite rebound team for the 2025 season. First reason, Mike Vrabel returns. Vrabel is the head coach, 54-45 in his career. 6 years with the Tennessee Titans, led them to 3 playoff appearances in 6 years. I'll take a 50% playoff rate. I'll take that for the Titans, who from like 2010 to 2018, 19 were pretty bad. Even before 2010, in all honesty. But 54 and 45 in his career, pretty solid there. Led the Titans to 3 playoff runs. Led the Titans to an AFC Championship game where they fell to the glorious Chiefs. But 3 out of 6 years, led the Titans to the playoffs. Very high on Vrabel. If you can see my Texans helmet in the background, was in Houston for a long time, was a linebacker coach, was a defensive coordinator. I wanted him to stay in Houston when the time came to it, when Bill O'Brien was supposed to get the boot. I wanted Mike Vrabel to take over. Goes to Tennessee, does some really good things. Does some really, really good things. I like him a lot as a head coach. I think he's very much a player's head coach as well. I think the players resonate with him and like his leadership. And with the Browns last year as a coach and personal kind of like consultant, very interesting title of just saying, be on our team and provide leadership, basically, coaching leadership. Vrabel, after those 6 years, after the year with the Browns, goes back to Tennessee goes back to New England, and I am all for it. I love Mike Vrabel. I love the hiring for the New England Patriots. I like it a lot for them. Again, he played for them as a player in the NFL, very familiar with the system. very familiar as a head coach, of course, has the experience, seems like very much a player-first coach. I like this move a lot for the New England Patriots, and that's just reason number one for why I'm beginning to be really high on them for the 2025 season is Mike Vrabel at the helm. Reason number two, their draft class / free agency. Let's take a look at all the names they either drafted or brought in. One, we'll start with the rookie Travion Henderson. Having a phenomenal camp, great preseason. We touched on him last week. Explosive player out of Ohio State. I think he's another guy that will be RB1 within the coming weeks, if not week one. Travion Henderson, they bring in Stephon Diggs. Yes, he had the ACL tear last year with the Texans. He seems fully healthy now. We all know what Diggs can do when healthy. Going to get a lot of receptions in this Patriots offense that was in dire need of a wide receiver one or just a target number one last year. He comes in, brings that veteran leadership, bona fide, solidified wide receiver one. If he can stay healthy, great move for New England in my opinion. He'll have, in my eyes, 900,000 yards, 8 tutties this year with a lot of catches. So Stephon Diggs over there in New England. Milton Williams, they're paying this man a bag. Is it rightful? Maybe so. I believe he's one of, if not, he is one of the highest paid year to year New England Patriots at the moment. Milton Williams, big name. Defensive tackle from the Eagles, makes his way over to New England to help bolster that defense up. Vrabel, he's a defensive guy, defensive-minded guy. Like I said, in Houston, was the DC in Houston, was linebackers coach. That's what he is. He's a defense-first guy. He's not there to call the plays, really, on offense. He's there to run the defense. Milton Williams is going to be a big piece in this New England defense, and he's going to be exciting to watch. Harold Landry follows him over. He was a big piece for the Titans in Mike Vrabel back in the 2018 to 2023 run for the Tennessee Titans there. Harold Landry lands back with New England for the linebacking core. Like the veteran leadership there as well. They're bringing in vets. They're getting a good experience for a team that has a young Drake May, that will have a young Travion Henderson, that has some other rookies that were drafted this year. It's a good combo of veteran leadership versus young, raw rookie talent. So bring in Harold Landry, Carlton Davis, another guy with some great veteran leadership. Played for the Bucs for a while, played for the Lions last year, cornerback. He'll be a starter for them. Carlton Davis will be a starter at CB for the New England Patriots as well. Who else we got here? We got Morgan Moses, very big veteran presence there on the offensive line. Love that move. Again, they bring in Milton Williams, Harold Landry, Carlton Davis, Stephon Diggs, Morgan Moses now. Garrett Bradbury, the center. Linebacker Robert Spillane has played in 17 games back-to-back years. They're bringing in guys with a lot of veteran leadership. And I think this team has lacked that ever since Brady and Gronk left the roster. It's been a lot of just miscellaneous pieces that they've kind of accumulated and tried to put together. They're bringing in veteran leadership. And that's one thing that's great. You always want veteran leadership. But if they're old and not really doing much production-wise, it doesn't give you a huge boost to your team. These guys still got gas in the tank. Stephon Diggs still has gas in the tank. Carlton Davis, Milton Williams has only played in 4 years, so he's got that veteran kind of mindset, but he's still got fresh legs. He's young, man. He's young. Henderson, the rookie, is going to provide a lot of pop. There's a lot to like about the balance I'm starting to see from this New England team. Defensively, offensively, a lot of pop. With that veteran leadership, I'm loving the combination I'm seeing over here from the New England Patriots. It's coming together for them. I really think it is. And they're putting the pieces together over there. They had a really great draft and offseason in my eyes, and I think it's really going to show throughout this season, obviously, as they're my favorite rebound team of 2025. So those are just a few of the names that got added and that got drafted by this New England team, and I think it's really going to come together for them under Vrabel, who's got the experience. And they've obviously got Campbell out of LSU, who they drafted in the first round for offensive line. And I think he's going to perform well. I know he's got short arms. That's a big joke. And, it's real. He does have short arms. But I don't think that would bother him too much at the pro level. He was amazing at college. So the O-line's starting to look bolstered up. They got the veteran presence now on defense especially. And it's looking good for New England. It's looking good. You got Drake May at the helm. We're going to touch on that here in one sec. I'm loving the Patriots. I really am. I really, really am. They've got the veteran leadership now. They've got the rookies coming in with great pop. You got Diggs. You got Henderson. You got Campbell on the O-line. You got Morgan Moses there to help out maybe a little bit. You've got Bradbury at center, Carlton Davis, Harold Landry, Milton Williams. I'm loving the pieces they're bringing in. I'm loving it. And let's shift gears over to the offense. Drake May, very high on Drake May. Was high on him last year. Really showed to me that he can handle this an offense, an NFL offense, really can control it. And not only that, he can be the leader. And last season, he did not have any good weapons. None. Zero. And still had a really solid rookie campaign. You saw the flashes. I'm very, very high on Drake May. Josh McDaniels comes back in as the OC. We all remember Josh McDaniels from his Tom Brady days in New England. He had that stint with the Raiders that did not go well as head coach. He's not made to be head coach. He's back as OC, which is fantastic to me. Knows New England obviously so well. Has been great with quarterbacks in the past. I think he's really going to help take Drake May even to a further level. I'm very, very high on Drake May. Going into his second year, quarterback out of UNC, had a really strong rookie campaign. You now give him Stephon Diggs on the outside and some other good backs. I'm really high on Drake May. I like Hunter Henry a lot this year too at tight end. He's one of my favorite late round tight ends to draft for safety. From a safety standpoint, maybe as a tight end 2 on your fantasy roster, I'm really high on Drake May. I really am. And I think bringing in Josh McDaniels will only help him flourish. McDaniels as the OC, I think there's going to be some good things going on over there. So very high on Drake May. I think year 2 for him, there's no sophomore slump. I think he really thrives. And I think Josh McDaniels will be a big piece of that. So touching on all those aspects, let's break down what I think their record will be and how I think their season is going to go. So I have the New England Patriots with a winning record. Let's go game by game. They open the season at home against the Raiders. Win. On the road against the Dolphins week 2. Win. Against the Steelers on the road week 3. In New England week 3. I have that as a win. Ladies and gentlemen, I have that as a win. Week 4 at home against the Panthers. I also have that as a win. Week 5, they go to Buffalo, and that's where I have their first loss. So I have the New England Patriots starting 4-0. Call me crazy, and it is a little crazy. It's kind of a take. It's a hot take in a way. I have the New England Patriots starting 4-0. At home against the Raiders, on the road against the Dolphins, at home against the Steelers, at home against the Panthers. 3 out of those 4 first games are home games. And to me, Raiders and Panthers are not gimmies, but kind of gimmies in a sense, comparative to the rest of the teams in the NFL. At minimum, they should be 3-1 in my eyes. Dropping maybe 1 to the Dolphins or 1 to the Steelers. I'm predicting they go 4-0 to start the year. Raiders, Dolphins, Steelers, Panthers. I am predicting the Patriots to start the season 4-0. We'll see how that goes. They lose to the Bills, 4-1. Saints the next week on the road. That's a dub. Got them at 5-1 here. On the road at Tennessee. I think it's another dub. I think it's 6-1. Sorry, I'm stuttering over here. I'm getting excited. On the road, at home, getting this flipped around. At home against the Cleveland Browns. I have that as a win as well. If this were to be true, I have the New England Patriots starting 7-1. But the schedule allows them to do that. I mean, Browns, Saints, Titans, Panthers, Raiders, that's 5 wins in my eyes. 100%. That is 5 wins right there. At least it should be. At home against the Falcons, I think that could be a loss. Could be a loss there. On the road at the Bucs, I think that could be a loss. They're at home against the Jets at the dub. On the road against the Bengals, that's a loss. At home against the Giants, they'll probably win 1-2 against the Giants, just randomly. That could be a win/loss. That game's like a 50-50 always. Bills in New England, Bills are going to beat them there. At the Ravens, that's a loss. At the Jets, that could be a loss, maybe. At home against the Dolphins, it's probably a dub. Overall, I have the New England Patriots going 10-7, but I have them starting really hot. I think they out the gate, they beat the Raiders, they beat the Dolphins, they beat the Steelers, they beat the Panthers, starting 4-0. They drop that fifth game to the Bills, so they're 4-1. Then they play the Saints, Titans, and Browns. 1, 2, 3. I think there's a real chance the New England Patriots start 7-1. Is that crazy? If not 6, it could be 6-2, but they have a chance to start so strong and so hot. And if they can really mold those pieces together really, really quickly with Vrabel and McDaniels, this team could be 6-7-1 out the gate. 6-2, 7-1. It is a real chance. Overall, I have their second half of the season being much harder with Falcons, Bucks, Bengals, Bills, Ravens, Dolphins again. It's a much harder stretch. I have the New England Patriots going to 10-7, but I have them starting either 6-2 or 7-1. I have them starting real hot. So 10-7 to me sneaks into the wild card in the AFC in the playoffs, and so I think the New England Patriots are headed for a playoff spot this year. I really do. I think they go 10-7, and I think Drake May, Mike Vrabel, Josh McDaniels, Travion Henderson, Stephon Diggs, Carlton Davis, Harold Landry, Milton Williams, Will Campbell, I think they are going to the playoffs. Under year 1 with Mike Vrabel, Josh McDaniels returns. Under year 2 with Drake May, 10-7. New England Patriots find their way to the wild card spot in the AFC. That's what I've got. That's what I've got. And they can start real hot. They really could. Ooh, they could. Man, that's one of my favorite teams to watch this year, New England Patriots. And it kind of pains me because they've had their successes. I'm tired of them making the playoffs. That damn 20-year stretch with Tom Brady and my Texans getting destroyed by him and Gronk and Belichick and Welker, and it just being a slaughter every time we go up there. And remember Garrett Blount? Man, he was a beast for them for a few years. They've had their time, but I really do think the Patriots could be a, quote, sleeper team, my favorite rebound team in 2025, and I really think they could make a run at the playoffs this year. So I think they start real hot. Let's see how that goes. All right, wrapping things up here on this Monday episode of the Swank Tank. Again, I appreciate y'all tuning in every Monday night, every Thursday morning. We got everything and anything NFL you're looking for and wanting to watch or listen to. Appreciate y'all being here. Let's wrap this up quick here. We're doing our 2 recurring segments, Remember When and Swanks Banks. Remember when today? 2014 NFC Championship game. Do you remember when Brandon Bostic muffed the onside kick? Do you remember when Russell Wilson finds Luke Wilson on a scrambling 2-point conversion? Do you remember the Seahawks coming down from 16-0 halftime deficit to beat the Packers in overtime of the 2014 NFC Championship game? You remember Jermaine Kearse over the shoulder, down the field. Seahawks win it. They're going to the bowl. Do you remember Brandon Bostic? I already mentioned this, but I have to triple mention it. Brandon Bostic butterfingers the ball coming off his fingertips. An improbable NFC Championship comeback by the Seattle Seahawks, coming back from a 16-0 deficit. Wilson scrambling for his life back there. Finds Wilson for the 2-point. Crosby came up clutch in this game in the second half for the Packers. Go into overtime. Seahawks win it. They go to the bowl, only for Malcolm Butler to intercept them at the goal line. Only for them to not run the ball. Only for Marshawn Lynch to not run the ball at the goal line. Oh, man. 2014, that was a wild ending to the playoffs. Wild ending to the year. What a Super Bowl. What a time. 2014 NFC Championship game. Muffed onside kick. You got the Russell Wilson extravaganza. You got the 16-0 halftime deficit. That had it all. It had it all. And, man, what a Super Bowl that was. 2014 Super Bowl. Man, oh, man. Shifting over here to our Swanks Banks. Keeping it really short today as we progress and get even closer to the NFL season. I'll have some big bets for you. This will be a much bigger segment when that time comes and when the regular season officially starts. But we went 3-0 on our bets from last weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, Bears at Chiefs over 41.5. That smashed. That hit by a mile. Ravens moneyline at Commanders. That also hit by a mile. Never fade the Ravens in the preseason. That is a life lesson. That is one you always take to the bank. If it is preseason and the Ravens are playing, you take them money line. You just don't fade that. 2-0 there. Browns at Rams under 39.5. This one got a little close. That hits too. 3-0 to start the year? Ladies and gentlemen, come on now. 3-0. Going into the regular season, that's what we're talking about. Preseason bets went 3-0. Bears at Chiefs over, bang. Ravens money line, bang. Browns at Rams under. There we go. Easy. There we go. We're starting the year 3-0. It's a brand new year. It's a new show. Excited that you're all here. Again, this segment's going to be a lot bigger once the season really gets going. With some big bets for Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, all the Sunday games. It's going to be great. It's going to be really one of the big segments. But 3-0 to start the year. Appreciate you listening and tuning in. We will be back Thursday morning. Have a great rest of your Monday night or Tuesday morning, whenever you're listening or watching to this. Really appreciate you all. The Swank Tank, go and follow us on all socials. Anywhere you listen to your podcast. Go subscribe on YouTube, please. Hit that follow on Spotify. Leave a comment if you want. Appreciate you all tuning in. As always, we'll be back Thursday morning. Have a great start to your week. And the Swank Tank, here we go, baby. NFL season just around the corner.